And welcome back. Well, whether it's a mid-afternoon treat or a midnight snack, food cravings can really derail a healthy eating plan.
Boy, can they ever.
Guilty.
A craving isn't your body's way of telling you that you're lacking the essential nutrients of, like, potato chips, for example.
What?
It is, though, trying to send you an important message. And here now with some simple solutions to curb your cravings is certified holistic health practitioner and nutritionist Maria Viall. Great to see you this morning.
Always good to be here.
This is a good topic because most people will say from time to time at a minimum that they have a craving.
Yeah.
And usually it seems like it falls into one of two categories. It's either salty or sweet.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. This can be a thing where I see this a lot in my practice. People will come in and it's an area that they really struggle with. And it's not just a matter of feeling like, oh, I can't control my sugar cravings. It really stems to managing your blood sugar, and it can cause some problems down the road. But it is something that's fairly easy to decrease or at least get under control if you understand maybe why you're having them, but also having some great tips that can help prevent those cravings from happening.
So mine is the actual specific craving part. A lot of times people will say if you feel a little hungry, sometimes you're actually thirsty. Is that ever true?
It's 100% true, and that's why it's the number one thing I say, and everyone's like, okay, water fits in every category, but this is one where it really is a preventative measure. Hunger definitely covers up hydration. Or if you're dehydration, it will come as hunger, so people will eat, and then all of a sudden they'll eat, and they're like, oh, now I'm really thirsty because it's triggered it even more. So my tip is obviously preventative. Try to drink as much water as you can starting from when you wake up. But if you're feeling a craving, have a large glass of water. Give yourself about 5 to 10 minutes and then reassess.
See if you're still hungry.
Can I eat the M&Ms?
Well, you know, it's just like it's a matter of steps until you dive into them. So this is just step number one.
All right, what about, and you've said this before, but I think this is a great tip for breakfast, and this is starting your day out right. And you say you got to have your fat and your fiber for breakfast.
Well, fat and protein.
Your fat, fiber, and protein.
Right, and fiber I will always talk about because nobody ever really gets enough. But fat and protein, definitely when it comes to food, it's how you start out your day.
Yeah.
Your body really needs energy, and fat and protein are the longest lasting energy. And they really can set the stage later on. Most people struggle with 2 times of the day, middle or late afternoon and late evening, where they're kind of feeling a little bit peckish. That really is a signifier of how you ate earlier in the day. So a lot of people will breeze through breakfast, maybe have a granola bar, have their coffee, you know, maybe have a small lunch, little salad, and then of course by the time 3 o'clock hits, you want to eat until you go to bed.
Yeah.
So having a substantial breakfast and lunch, and I tell people it doesn't matter what it looks like. Don't think of breakfast food when you think of breakfast. Have healthy fat, have healthy protein. I mean, even if you have leftover chicken breast from the night before, have that with maybe some sauteed veggies, or I tell people if they want something a little bit lighter, nut butter on some sprouted bread, or you know, avocado is healthy fat. Eggs, really easy. A lot of people do smoothies now.
Yeah.
But they're missing the healthy fat and protein, so they'll drink it, and then all of a sudden 10:30 hits, and they're like, I'm starving.
Yeah.
And they're jonesing for for some energy. So,
so those are some good examples, like you said, the chicken breast, or maybe some nut butter on sprouted grain bread, avocado, eggs, almonds.
Almonds, some nuts. I'll tell people they can do a protein powder. You really want to make sure it's a plant-based protein powder, and that there's really not a lot of great ones out there, but making sure that there's maybe some fiber in there as well.
Okay. Eating on the run, or like just that mindless munching, as we call it, that's always a problem. So how do we fix that?
Yeah, we all do it. So as much as possible, understanding life is hectic. Understand people have everything to do. The less times you can eat in the car, you can eat at your desk, or you can eat standing up, the more satisfied you're going to be at your meal, because your brain doesn't necessarily register what's going on. I mean, I'm sure most people can relate to sitting in front of the TV with like a bowl of popcorn, and you eat the whole thing, and it's like,
don't remember it.
I don't actually remember anything past the first kernel. And that's really like that mental satisfaction, that emotional satisfaction that you can get from your food when you're more present. So staying off of your Facebook, staying away from your computer, at least for part of your meal, you would be surprised at how much more satisfied and filled you will be from each meal, that you won't experience cravings later on because you're emotionally and mentally satisfied with your meal.
The other thing that you say is to eat your treat with your meal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And why is that? Why is it? So when you say treat, I mean, you've got some dark chocolate, you got some nuts and olives there. Are all of those treats?
Well, I just brought, some people like salty, some people like sweet. I mean, I'm even talking about if your go-to is some potato chips, and it's just like, you know, I'm going to eat them.
Tortilla chips.
I'm going to eat them regardless of anything. Fine. I would rather see you eat that with your meal, and the reason being is when you eat it after a meal or in between meals, the more frequently you eat, the more you raise your blood sugar. And so when you're eating something like a chip that doesn't really have a lot of substance to it, you're getting some empty calories that boost your insulin to just drop you down later on. And so this up and down of your blood sugar will perpetuate cravings. So I'm not saying don't eat your sweets. I'm not saying don't eat your snack. Move it to your lunch and really enjoy it. So sit down, let it be part of that slow eating process.
We're out of time, but I want to make sure we get to that. But I think what you said is really interesting because a lot of people think of eating 6 meals and always continually eating. And you've told us before off air, don't be afraid to kind of let that time lapse in between. You don't have to be eating all the time. It's actually better to, like you said, let that insulin kind of lower. Where do pickles and cinnamon come in?
Okay, cinnamon is great preventative. 1 or 2 teaspoons in anything. It helps with lower your blood sugar, but it also kind of helps curb that sweet craving. Pickles, I am telling you, is a godsend.
I love pickles.
I prefer the fermented ones because they have some really good bacteria, but they're crunchy, they're salty. This is like your last effort, right? We have the water, you have your little time. I'm still having a craving. You grab a pickle, you munch on a couple of them. Typically, this can help you diving into some ice cream or that handful of M&Ms. That's really going to throw your blood sugar. And it really just helps balance everything out, and you're able to better assess what you really want to eat or if you need to eat anything.
Is it easy to find fermented pickles?
Yeah, so these are Bubby's pickles. You can, I think Sendik's in the area carries them, but like Outpost carries them, and most health food stores carry them. They're not just really good for you, but they taste amazing. They're really great. They have a little garlic zing to it.
Lastly, you say sleep will decrease those cravings and help your appetite. Maria Viall, right now, she's got free consult for the first 10 people who email her at mtvials for Maria Therese Viall at gmail.com. And that must be a new client. So free for the first 10 people who email her. And that's how you can do that. Find out more about her at mariaviall.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Thanks for helping us curb the cravings.
Okay.
All right.